so much for joining us. So we're just setting the stage. We're sharing our personal experiences on collaboration, and Rima was just about to tell us an example of a collaboration that has helped in your journey.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here today. So I remember one powerful collaboration I had. There's this lady who does this beautiful, like tie-dye, edtex. And one thing, I just didn't want to give her everything that, do it like this, do it this way, I want this colors, or you should print it this way. What I did was that I just asked her, we sat down, we had a conversation, and I asked her to give me her raw material, whatever she uses. So let's say she has silk, So I collected the silk, made a whole outfit with it, let's say a dress from beginning to end with the zippers, with everything intact, with lining. And then I gave it back to her and I told her to go to town with it. So it was one collaboration that I felt that you have to allow people to be themselves, be their artistic self. And it gives, it's like you share values and then you feel equal in collaborating. That's what I feel like co-creation is about, and collaborating.
Thank you so much. So let's hear from you. Yeah, sorry.
Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
By the way, your shoes, very cute. I've been looking at them. So thank you again for this opportunity to speak. And we're just getting right into it concerning collaborations, right? Okay, so there's this lady I really admire. Her name is Charlotte Magai. And I actually met her in competition. We were in competition for Africa Business Heroes. And I remember during the competition, none of us were speaking to each other. It was like everybody wanted to be top 3. And I'm there looking at my competitors like, hey, how did I make it here? Like, these are juggernauts. So anyway, after the competition, I didn't win the top 3. Neither did she though, but then we met. And I was just in awe of this person, like putting aside competition and actually looking at what she had done. And we were friends for a long time. And I think one day she said to me, Violet, I know that you're working with women in the North and you know what I'm doing. Let's see how we can collaborate. And the whole time I had put it kind of behind. But I said, okay, let's see how we can incorporate her clean cook stoves in the northern part of Ghana. And really just looking at her interests and not so much ours. And it blossomed into something so beautiful that allowed us to have more impact just by following her example. So sometimes collaboration can come, especially from people that you may think you're in a competitive space with. But if we just humble ourselves and actually give the person the grace and understand, like, yeah, there's a reason why this person can beat me. And like, just create a real friendship with them and try to learn instead of kind of overshadow them. Rather, let them have the glory that they're supposed to have, and we might learn something.
Thank you so much, Violet. A round of applause for her. So let's hear from you, Chichi. An example of a collaboration that's happened with you.
I didn't even think of it as a collaboration to begin with because it was me just going over and beyond. I didn't think of it as a collaboration. It was me being me. And we all have this thing within that we can tap into. It comes to us naturally. Collaboration shouldn't be forced. Yeah. So I'm more of someone who is a people's person. Back then when I didn't know much, I was a people pleaser. I'm a yes person. I'm yes to everything and anything. And I've learned and unlearned from it. So now I'll say, I love people. So I always want to go over and beyond, right? And this lady ordered a pack of meal at the time, not worth even up to 100 cedis. And this was 7 years ago. For some reason, there is something I call discernment. And oh my God, if only you can listen to that still voice. And something kept triggering me, or I should say prompting me, go and do the delivery yourself. Because the rider stood me up. And this was all the way from those in Accra, I'll say all the way from Circle to Adenta. And 7 years ago, Adenta it seems so far. So I did this delivery, and guess what? She wasn't even there. I dropped it off to her brother, and then the brother informed her I brought it myself. So the next day she was like, why would you bring this order? I'm like, the rider stood me up. So you could have just canceled it. I said, no, it was your first purchase, and I had to, retain you. I'm looking to retain customers. And that was it. I opened my flagship store and she started buying from me. Little did I know that she's a big industry player. Not in my industry necessarily, but advertising industry. So this was the catch. When I started business, I was meant on actually not playing safe. What does that mean? Typically, I want to collaborate with event planners. I want to collaborate with maybe restaurant owners or people doing similar things. But I asked myself, everything we all do here, it kind of intersects with other industries. So every industry is actually someone I can actually easily collaborate with. They had the platform, they're an advertising agency, they can put just one logo up on anything of theirs and you know you are going to blow. You get the visibility you need. So I reached out to them. Is there any way I can serve? So I wasn't looking at the money aspect, but I was looking at the service just to get access. Because sometimes we won't get those doors open onto us unless you add value to them and probably not get anything in return.
Yes.
And that was what brought up a meaningful collaboration. And today, it's so exciting that we don't only partner as brands or collaborate, but we party. They are my family friends, and it's beautiful. So I just want to end this by saying, if I can't even party with you, because I'm all for the vibes, I don't want to partner with you. So collaboration for me is supposed to be fun. It doesn't have to be always gains. It can go free. And sometimes that's all you need to do. You need to even sow a seed into somebody's life. And it might not come from there, but they could be in a room where they can connect you with another collab. So yeah, that's my take on it.
Thank you so much, Chichi. A round of applause for her, please. So we'll zoom out a little bit now. Let's talk about building ecosystems. My very first question under this, what do you believe are the key ingredients for a sustainable collaborative ecosystem? Let me speak to Rima first. Your brand is known for craftsmanship, intentional storytelling. How do you collaborate without compromising artistic integrity?
Okay, so first you have to know your brand. You have to know what your core DNA is. At Rami, we pride ourselves in the construction of the dress or the construction of an outfit more than the style of it. So you can see a very simple silhouette, but what is underneath or what is inside of the dress, it goes beyond. I always tell people that I enjoy the construction side of sewing. I'm a seamstress, so I enjoy that part more than the design part, because everybody feels like if you're a fashion designer, it's like you just sit down and then you put a pen to paper and then you do all the styles in the world. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to actually love what you do. And the construction part is, I love when I see the needle go into the fabric. That's my favorite part. And the fact that you can actually layer fabric to give you a certain structure, the boning, everything, love it. So now, if we are looking for somebody to collaborate with you, you have to find somebody who aligns with your value, somebody who also cares about a certain aspect, so that it becomes more of, there's an understanding between you guys. You have to always find, it just comes down to respect and also, I have said shared values again. You just have to share values so that it makes it easier for both of you. Yeah, that's
awesome. So loving what you do and then shared values.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. So let me go to Jemila. In your experience building digital communities across Africa, what collaboration models have you seen work best, especially sectors like media, tech, development? Can you please speak to this?
So maybe I'll touch on the collaboration model that I gravitate towards the most. There are obviously many different models. You can have a hub and spoke model like what we have with the various impact hubs, where there's a headquarters and then they'll set up different hubs in various countries. You can also have the kind of elite network model where it's a group of experts or industry people who are coming together to achieve a specific goal. But my favorite is co-creation. And I love it because I'm a creative at heart. And granted, I've built a career in other industries, but at the soul of me is creativity. And for that model, similar to what Rima said, it's very important to have shared values. I'll give two examples. So the first example is with regards to an event that we pulled off. We used to have these networking events called changemakers. And I didn't want them to be just networking events because I recognize that many of us have a challenge networking, right? We'll go to an event, but how to actually initiate that first conversation or work the room is a struggle for many people. And I love to be able to facilitate that and help, break the ice and help get everybody comfortable. So I happened to go to the US. I studied in the US. I've studied in Europe. And I went back to the US in 2018. And because I had been there, I actually started my company as a blog when I was a college student. So I had a pretty strong reader base in the US, and particularly in Washington, D.C., where I stayed for some time. So when I was visiting, my readers were asking, when are we going to get an event? Because they had seen events I had done in Ghana and elsewhere, but they hadn't had an event yet. And this was literally a week to when I was supposed to be leaving. And I was trying to think of how are we going to pull off something that, number one, provides value, and number two, I can't do it alone. I didn't plan to do this, so how am I going to find the right people to do it with? So I reached out to a network that I was part of. And I think Chichi and Violet both mentioned the fact that you never know where it's going to come from. And in that network, my girlfriends were like, yes, definitely do it. We even want an event. Now the question was, where were we going to do it? Washington, D.C. prices are not cheap. I hadn't planned for it. But I've always believed in co-creation, and for circumspect changemakers, it's always been a co-creation element, meaning I will put it out to the audience and say, what kind of vibe are you looking for? And my readers would typically say, oh, we want this, this, this. Oh, and by the way, you could check out this place, or I know this person. So I did something similar. And then a random person who I'd never met before, a gentleman, reached out to me and he said, hey, I saw your post and let's have a chat. Turns out he was a very wealthy person who owned a restaurant in DC, and he had a strong connection. I think he was Congolese. So he wanted to support an African sister. And that was how we got free amazing. Restaurant catered.
Wow, amazing.
They were just happy to do the whole thing. And then that allowed myself and the network that I used to be part of and some of my former colleagues and friends pull together an event. And the topic actually was about how Ghanaians and other diasporans can make the journey back home. That was the entire focus of that event because that was what was needed. But this ended up being a great example of why Africans in the diaspora and Africans on the continent need each other, because that was how the events came to be. So maybe I'll stop there. But for me, it's not always strategic. It's a lot of the time it's about the emotion, it's about the why, it's about the different purposes that we each have and where they overlap. And then once you start having those conversations, then you see the things like, oh, we can actually make this work, But a key thing is to also make sure that you put some structure to it, right? So even with my friends, and I would say especially with my friends, if I'm doing a project or collaborating, we have an MOU because our relationship is way too important for any nonsense, because nonsense will happen when you're planning and you're creating. It's way too important to be dismissed just because we have problems. And so it's important to have an MOU that defines how you're going to address things, what everyone is bringing to the table, and then you stay open and communicative with each other.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jemila. A round of applause for her, please. Yeah, so we'll go over to Violet. So Skin Gourmet has collaborated globally while staying grounded in Ghanaian authenticity. So how do you maintain local identity while scaling through international partnerships?
I think for us, it's easy to stay local and have a local identity because we're Ghanaian. It's also about staying true to your roots. So for us, it was identifying, like, as much as we have a skincare company, Skin Gourmet, people see the product side, but that's not really what we do. Skin Gourmet started because of a need to help boost Ghana's economy. And to create decent jobs. And we found that we can do that by taking Ghana's natural resources and evolving it into a finished product for the global world. So essentially what we're doing is we're trying to tap into the global market by collaborations, trying to see how we can use what we have in Ghana to help them do whatever it is they want to do over there, but at the same time take their dollars and their euros and use it to build our economy locally. So a lot of times it's also perspective. When you go into any sort of negotiation or partnership, I think Chichi said it clearly, which really struck me, is that how do we serve, right? How can I help you solve your problem? And that means that you're constantly evolving, constantly changing, because sometimes people don't even understand what it is that they want. And sometimes the models that you start out with don't work. So I think the key is also iteration, right? You always have to go back to the drawing board, ask yourself, are we meeting our targets? Are we doing the impact we wanted to? What are the problems this person is facing? And I think sometimes we're really focused on why we're not making it. But I'm not going to make it if you don't make it. So I need to sometimes step back and say, why are you not making it? How do I solve that problem? Maybe we need to look at this. Maybe we need to look at, and sometimes you lose. It's okay. In your loss and in the person seeing how invested you are in them winning, sometimes they can also lose and then you can also win. So I think it's just a matter of iteration and putting somebody's interest in front of yours, not necessarily on the same par as yours, because the collaboration is so that you all benefit. So them benefiting is you also benefiting.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Violet, please. So finally, on building ecosystems, I would like to get your thoughts, Chichi. As a brand rooted in culture and community, how do you decide who to partner with and what makes partnership meaningful to you?
So aside what will naturally come to all of us, communication and trust is the fundamental, like it's the foundation. Beyond that, it's more of I want it to be interdependent. So whatever person I'm going into collaborations with, I don't want to be good in makeup and you're good in makeup. So let's take it for instance, in my line of business, so we don't need 5 chefs adding salt to the same recipe if they are working in the kitchen. But we'll need one person that will come with the spice, someone that will come with the freshness of the produce, someone that will come with the plating and styling. So I want it to be as relatable for you to actually digest this from this angle. In pursuing even my relationship, I don't want to go in depth about the collaboration aspect of it because I want it to be very simple for everyone to go and you leave here with something. Sometimes the wording of what we say makes it sound so technical. But let's look at it from friendship point of view, building community, sisterhood. So I have a group of ladies I call the Soul Sisters. As cliche as it sounds, yes, indeed, yeah. The Soul Sister. So I pursued these relationships and I created the group. Why did I do that? Because I realized all the time the circles we find ourselves in is because of proximity. And I'll go in depth about that. So let's say Ranstina, she was my senior in school. So naturally, she'll be my friend. But I ask yourself, if I wasn't in that school, would she be my friend? So we were cool, but later on in life, I pursued a relationship. Because then I felt we were just in the same school. So of course, you are my roommate or we are in the same house. But when it comes to collaboration, it should be pursued as though your significant other. So it shouldn't just be because we attend the same school, because, oh, we have the same fashion sense, because you look pretty, because you have your numbers right. No. It should be someone that you are willing to die for and they are willing to do the vice versa for you. And it should be someone that is coming with certain angle that you is in your blind spot.
Yeah.
So if I'm good with clothing, I know how to style my clothes, I would ideally want to collaborate with someone that is not so great at that, but they're good at hairstyling. So they bring something, I bring something. So that's what I mean by interdependence. So pursue anyone you go into collaboration with, and we should rely heavily on what someone is good at. So the strength, we should look at the strength they bring, not we being in the same space and we can all do the same thing. No.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for her, please.
Oh, yeah, and just also to add to that
Sure.
is transparency. Like, sometimes things don't work out, but if you are very honest and you tell people what's going on at every single point in time, communication, it just makes life a lot easier. And then it's also easier to make decisions and to pivot because you're being very clear and being accountable.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I want us to be candid just going forward. I would like us to speak to challenges and lessons so far in our journey. I'll start with Rima rather. How do you think African creatives can build collective strength to compete globally while preserving individual voices? And if you would like to share a personal story to that would be great. Thank you.
Such an introvert that there's just one friend I have who's in the fashion design, and that's she by Bina. So we've planned to collaborate so many times, and it's all come true. And we have this culture of it being about ourselves. But listen, if we create like collective showcases, imagine all the designers in Ghana come together and be like, everybody, we're gonna come together with our own models. I have models that I love using. Probably somebody will have a photographer who's very good at taking videos. Somebody will have something else, a hairstylist who can collaborate for free. If we all come together, do you know the resources we have to put together to actually have like a showcase? We can actually co-compete instead of it always being like, oh, it's just me, it's just me. We can come together, cooperate, and compete. There's nothing wrong with me bringing what I have and you bringing what you have. We have different voices. You can't tell me that all the brands in Ghana are the same. You can identify each brand by their niche, by their styling. I can tell Christy Brown from another brand. You know what I mean? So if we get, one of them is, as I said, the showcases. Now we need regional production hubs. We need places where we can produce clothes. Which factory in Ghana is producing clothes? There's nothing, no one here. If we actually come, as I said, let's collaborate. Bring a place where we can have a factory where we can make small scale, because we don't have the numbers like in Nigeria. Nigeria, you guys, you have the numbers. If I put something out now and I have about 1,000 pieces, I will be able to sell it within 6 months. In Ghana, we don't have that. As a fashion designer, I'll tell you that some dresses that is best selling, trust me, we don't sell more than 30. And that makes that outfit, or that makes that product so expensive because we don't have the factories. You understand? Yeah. And we also need shared platforms. We need like a probably what's that thing called? We need somewhere that we can all showcase. We can all put our stuff together on a platform. I think Anansi is doing very well with that. The company Anansi. They have different brands, African brands, and showcasing like that makes it people respect us more. Like the global industry, they respect us more when they see the diversity in our brands. They see that, listen, it's just not one thing. It's just not Ankara corsets. It's just not bubu. It's just not this. We can have really, really like different brands come together, and it will be.
Thank you so much. So that's still a challenge that's yet to be solved. So moving on to, let me go to Chichi. Please, could you share a lesson from a past collaboration that changed how you approach business? It could be challenge, lesson, so we can pull from it. Thank you.
Hi. So, like I said initially, we go into collaboration with people that we are aligned with, people that genuinely will put our life on the line for. But I have learned that some collaborations, even though you like the person, they are good human, they might not be good fit for collaboration, and it's from pit of hell. That collab was birthed from hell. And I learned that the hard way because if you remember, I told you I'm a yes person.
Yeah.
And I learned the hard way. It made me realize that the hard conversations should be the first thing to even delve into. What does that mean? You need a legal advisor. Not everything that looks good on paper actually will make sense when you're executing it. And some people just wouldn't bend. And I don't also want to go back into time doing stuff with people that we have to revisit the contract. And paperwork, when you're working with someone you admire and you believe they also really believe in your vision and where you're heading with it, you overlook certain things. You feel like, oh, come on, what is paper? Don't do that. You know, ladies, come on, let me just sign. And you don't go through it with someone. Now, I wouldn't go into any collaboration without the paperwork clearly understood by both parties. And it shouldn't be my legal advisor. We can get a mediator, someone that we are both okay with, because the hard conversations, when it happens, everyone feels as though the other person is the villain, and you don't want to go down that part. I have seen it happen, not once, not twice. Now I know that the hard conversations, if we cannot have hard conversations, disagree to agree, then let's not even go on with it, because even when you go on with it, just like any good partnership, things will come up. I call it the discoveries. You will discover things as you go on. But if it's someone that you can have the hard conversation with from the beginning, you know that they are emotionally intelligent, they are ready for, the low times, the high times, and things that we have to relook at it in a different way, but not one-sided. So it's something that I've realized that paperwork, legal stuff, for that matter, let's not ignore it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. A round of applause for her, please. I'd like to get your thoughts, Jemila and Violet, on this same question. Could you reflect on structural or cross-border challenges just within building ecosystems so far in both your business and career? If you could share structural or cross-border challenges or lessons that you've learned so far. Thank you.
I'll take it. So I think this one is something I've also learned the hard way. And I think women are more susceptible to this. And that has to do with people tagging on just because of what they can get from you. And there's a power that women have. It's like when we focus on something, it is going to happen. It is going to grow. It is going to thrive. And not everybody has that. And unfortunately, sometimes for some guys too, they notice. And I've done a lot of digital marketing workshops. And one thing I often hear from my male trainees, or what they complain about, is that it's so easy for women to, in quotes, blow online because we just have that. And people are interested to see what other women are doing. But a lot of guys tend to struggle with that. So when you're going into collaborations, you also need to be very, very discerning. It can look, to Chichi's point, it can look good on paper, but tap into your gut. If it does not feel right, I don't care how much money it is, do not proceed. There was one potential collaboration. I think this was it was actually with a client. I think this was probably the first time they had heard someone they were going to give money to say, no, thank you. Because we were looking at doing a collaboration, and as I mentioned, I like to co-create. So I might be good at something, but if I know that there are other people who are better at other things, I'll pull them in. And in this case, it was two gentlemen, really great at creative direction, videography, and so on. Now, I was the front runner with this client, having conversations, and I quickly realized that this was a client who was going to micromanage, which means that you do not trust me or you don't trust us. I can't work in such dynamics because it just spells disaster. So I pulled the plug. I said, you know what? This has been an enlightening conversation, but I've also been assessing whether you are the kind of client I want to work with.
Yeah, love it.
And unfortunately, I don't think I'll be moving forward. And it was a hard thing to do because you're thinking of how much money you're bringing in or the kind of impact you can have. But if it doesn't feel right, do not proceed. On the flip side, don't run away from the challenges. I've seen multiple times where people who are collaborating end up coming out stronger because of the challenges they went through together. They gain more clarity and they bond together. So the question you should ask yourself at the start of the collaboration or potential collaboration is, if everything were to go south at the end of this, would I be happy that I still did it, right? And for you, if it's a growth thing, for me, if I grow from it, if I get to find out what does not work for me or my business, then that is still valuable, yeah.
I think that's a really great point that you made. Like, as I was supposed to answer the question, I was like, I'm not ready. And actually, I was like, yes, you said everything I want to say. No, but that's a really good point. Like, when I look at our business, the number of mistakes we have made. And you know, it's not like I wasn't discerning. Oh, no, I prayed. I promise you, I prayed. I prayed and I even fasted and I still went inside and it was still a calamity. But then, like exactly what you said, you have to ask yourself why God allowed it. And sometimes he allows it because it's a learning curve. There's something you need to understand. So I can look back and I'll say, oh, we were doing really, really well with this model. Now I can stand here and say, actually, no, that model's not going to work in the long term. But how would I know that unless I was actually there? There have been times where I'll have a collaboration with someone. And again, the paperwork is very important. But I'm also the type of person, I don't have time for quotes. I just really don't. I like to pick my battles. So going back to what you said is, can you walk away? Or is it going to burn you so hard that it's going to completely change you and waste more time and resources? So it's a matter of also investing what you can stand to lose. If you know you can't lose this, then don't put on the line. But if you know that you can stand it and walk away, then yes, it's something that you can invest in because you get a better learning from it. And then also, I mean, when I... The question is, so what? The challenges. You know, people ask us about the challenge. I'm like, why don't you ask me what was not a challenge? That would probably be much easier to answer. But I think people are the greatest challenge when it comes to collaboration because people change, people are traumatized, people have issues. And again, like Jemila was saying, you just never know. Is this going to help me grow or is it going to break me or am I going to learn? Is it worth the opportunity? So I guess also harping on what you're saying again about discernment. I wish there was an easy formula we could tell you that yes, when you see this, 1 + 1 is 2, go. No, you can pray, you can fast, and still you can fail. So just make sure that you've made the right analysis of, am I willing to lose in this? And if I lose, will I be able to walk away okay?
We have come to the end of our panel session, but just before we go, I'd like to get your thoughts, just 30 seconds, and advice to the audience. And thank you guys for listening and being engaging. So I'll start from Chichi, please. Thank you.
Hi. So I just want to touch on what Jemila said. If you take nothing at all from here, just go into the world with an abundance mentality. Because I'm selling jollof. A lot of people are selling jollof. I mean, jollof is everywhere. You probably make even a better jollof than I do. But what is setting me apart is because I'm not looking where everyone else is looking. I want to use a clear example. I want to even go further away from food. Buy Talata brand. They actually do scents and all sorts. So this was the catch for me. I went to a hotel somewhere in Cape Coast, and their scents were all over the bathrooms. They have so much competition. Everything they do, I see people recreate them. And best believe nothing is new under the sun. Probably they also got inspired from elsewhere. But what they are doing differently is they are going further away from the city. So think beyond your immediate reach and have an abundance mentality because the market is so big. When I hear people say saturated, I laugh. I used to have that mindset too, but I had a shift when I started looking elsewhere. I asked myself, what is everybody doing? What are all my competitors doing? What are they not doing? That's what I want to do. And once you start doing that, trust me, everything changes.
Thank you so much, Chichi. So Violet, please let's hear from you and advice the audience can take away.
For me, I would say look for a need and solve it. There are so many problems in the world. If you can find a solution, and I found that in life, everybody's built to solve a problem. And usually you identify that problem because it bugs you the most. It could be something that nobody else cares about, but for some reason it's really under your skin. So apply yourself to solve problems and put the interests of other people's first. And I know it sounds kind of backwards, but when you serve or you go out into the world to solve a problem for someone else, that's how you create yourself and make yourself valuable, because you are a solution. And in that, it's interesting that profit can be a byproduct of just doing good. So do good where you can apply yourself with your whole heart because it means something to you. And as you're solving a problem for someone else, it has its own byproducts that will bless you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Violet. Let's hear from you, Jemila. Thank you.
Yeah, I think what I would add is a bit on what Chichi said. Think beyond Ghana. I think that's the biggest one for me. You might not be able to, in quotes, penetrate the market in Ghana because there are a lot of people, but have you considered going next door to Ivory Coast? Have you considered going to Nigeria? Or have you considered going to Senegal? I feel like once you start doing that, then you open yourself up to the possibilities and it sparks new ideas, even the way the Francophones do things. I don't understand why more people are not collaborating with Francophones. If anyone here is looking to do something different, please take some time, visit Senegal, visit Ivory Coast, and just see what's happening there. And then you'll see many opportunities to collaborate. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jemila. Let's hear from you, Rima.
So one thing I'll say or advise people is that let's give more customer service. Okay, for me, I always say that my brand is something that people want. They don't need it. It's not medicine. You get it. And for me to charge 5,000, 6,000, and then you give a bad attitude on top, no. It's not, they don't need it. They'll not die if they don't wear a pink dress to the wedding. Do you get me?
Yeah.
So once I have a customer come and say, oh, the dress got here and I didn't like the side, or the mesh is torn, I'm so sorry, bring it back, I'll make a new one for you. It's gonna cost me, but it doesn't matter. I want to retain my customers. That's all. They don't need it, so you need them. So please, let's focus on customer service. For me, I handle my WhatsApp messaging. I handle all the DMs from customers, and then I take all the orders online. I just don't trust anybody because your assistant is going to come back to you to ask you that, oh, this customer said they want this, so what is it? And they don't have the same passion you have for your job the way you want them to. So I handle it. My phone is always in my hand. If I'm doing a pattern and somebody texts me, at most 24 hours. Sometimes, we get a little busy, but I make sure that I reply and then I give them all the information. So that's all.
Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause to our brilliant panelists. Thank you so much. I'll just welcome. Okay, so we'll just take a picture now. And thank you guys for listening. Thank you so much.